How's the Josh? So I will start with one question. So how many of you use LLM? Let it be a different question. How many of you don't use LLM? No one will be there? Very, very few. So yeah. So today's topic is how you can improvise LLM performance, LLM efficiency by monitoring LLM models. So yeah, the topic is building robust LLM observability and also considering security portion of them. So yeah, let's start with the introduction. Hi, I am Neil Shah. I work as a developer advocate at Middleware, and I used to do a lot of events around DevOps, CNCF space in my local region, and I have maintained more than 15 plus hackathons and have given talks in KCDs and KubeCon. Now I would like to invite my co-speaker, Ransi.
Hey, hi everybody. My name is Ransi. I work as an engineering leader at SonicWall. I'm also the organizer for GDG Cloud Bangalore, and I'm also a GD in cloud security, and pretty much about that. So let's look at some of the unique challenges of LLMs right now. And this is, it's a black box. It's pretty hard to debug. It's very hard to optimize and all of that. So this is some sort of like a cliche slide that I've put in. There are latency and performance concerns because it's costly, slow, and few of them. Of course, there is this problem with hallucination, how reliable the data it's producing and all of that. And of course, trust, because it could lead to some sort of like a misleading problems, right? And then there is the problem with the cost and the tokens that's getting burned and all of that. And we also need to go a little beyond from the traditional monitoring because just looking at the logs and everything is not enough. So just to drive home that point, this is sort of like a good screenshot that I've put. You know, we can talk about some of the first one where Google is suggesting to use some non-toxic glue for something, and then some of the mishaps with respect to the last one where she was able to buy a Chevy for just $1. So some of these are the early days of the LLM. So it can have a real business impact. And this is something that we want to look and insight on what exactly is happening, right? So what exactly should we be comparing? Because it's not just about the traditional monitoring anymore. Because when we look at the metrics, the old ones used to be with respect to CPU, RAM, and everything. But now we have to look at from the token usage, the response time, and all of that. Again, what are the logs? Earlier it used to be infrastructure and application logs. But now we need to look at the prompt level, the validation of the responses that we are getting. Similarly, with respect to tracing, it's not just about microservice to microservice tracing requests. Now we need to look at the whole end flow from prompt to the response. Similarly, with error detection, what do we detect? We have to now detect the hallucination, the bias, and the response validations and all of that. Similarly, with respect to cost monitoring, it's all about now looking at the monitoring of the token utilization. And anomaly. It's not just about what we flag as anomaly. With the LLM observability, we have to look at what we detect in terms of the unusual model drift and the prompt drift and all of that, right? So with that point said, I'll hand it over to Neil.
Yeah. So yeah, considering all of this, so where actually the observability came in the picture, because we do a lot of things around LLM. So LLM, what we have a bare model or something, then we have memory. Memory is something what we feed to that, to train that. So we have memory, we orchestrate that, but actually where does the observability come? So it comes between evaluation and monitoring. So observability comes under evaluation too, because you want to improve your performance of LLMs. So it will be there in evaluation phase. Next, please. Yeah. So covering what we will cover in LLM observability sort of thing. So major of the things are, we will capture matrix traces of everything. Why? Because if we see a dashboard, if we see a trace, so everyone knows trace. So how does, if we use a multi-LLM model sort of thing, so we will have a whole trace, we will see at which point, how much time is taken, and then we can improvise that. Our application can be improvised that. We will see anomaly. Yeah. We will see anomaly. So if anyone don't know anomaly, so anomaly is a thing where we had predefined data, or let's say we had data of last 1 week, and from that we will predict that in observability, in your application, there could be chances of some spike or something. There are chances. So anomaly helps in that sense. Apart from that, we want to improvise, so we have other evaluation frameworks also for LLMs. So yeah, coming back to OpenTelemetry, everyone knows that, and in observability, it is the base mark, you need to use that. And OTel is one of the second most contributed project in CNCF landscape, if you know, after Kubernetes, and we will use this, and we will also use OpenLit today to showcase what we are doing. So I will just say, before OpenTelemetry, what was the problem? So people have logs, people have every data, but if someone from, like, let's say Ransi, want to share data with me, I had it in different format. So I won't be able to do that. So OpenTelemetry came up with a benchmark sort of thing, framework sort of thing, where anyone wants to share the data, share the resources of logs or traces or anything, they are able to do that. And everyone can see that. Yeah, next. So yeah, what it came? It created a standardization of everything, of logs, metrics, traces, the pre-format things. And it has in almost all the languages. Let it be Java, Python, Node, any language. OpenTelemetry has their SDKs, even they have their agents. You can install that in your application and have the traces in your any platform you want. It also has CNCF support. That is the biggest thing. It has a very good community. If you have some questions, you can ask in the CNCF Slack channel. They will be happy to help you out. Next, please. So yeah, how to instrument an LLM observability. We have talked a lot of things around LLMs. We have talked a lot of things around open observability. How we will do that? So we will trace each and every request of models. We will show the dashboard afterwards in the demo. But we will have all the things tracing and dashboards. We will also see how many tokens are used in each per request. Apart from that, we will also capture logs at each and every interval. That will help you out too, because sometimes there are backflow sort of thing where there are errors in LLMs. If we have multimodal LLMs, then we have error in some of the particular place. We don't know. We can find them from logs. And we can also export this. We will use OpenLit, but we can also export this to some of the SaaS-based platform if you want to use. So what are the key monitoring places? So one is latency. Eventually we want that it should be improved, so the performance can be improved. Next is token usage. We want that, because let's say one example, I had 100 sort of tokens with me. If I am doing one request and it is spending 10 tokens. So would it give me an answer? Would it give me an answer? No, because I don't have enough amount of tokens. So for that scenarios, and to understand this better, you need to have that dashboard sort of thing. Next is errors. We need to track errors to improvise the API, to improvise the efficiency of LLMs. Yeah, here is a sample code, how you can do OpenTelemetry in your application. You just need to import all the things. You need to initialize a function of tracing, and then you can set exporter. If you know OpenTelemetry, then it has OTel collector. OTel collector has major three things. There is one initializer, then is one manipulator which manipulates the data in which format you want, and it will export. You can export the OpenTelemetry data to some of the platforms or to visualize that better. Yeah, over to you, Raj.
Sure. So with that baseline set, I want to sort of like slide into what the OpenLit and how this comes in the picture. So anybody who's heard about OpenLit? Okay, that was the expected response, because I wanted this session to be getting familiar with OpenLit, and I myself am no expert. Full disclosure, this is sort of like a 10,000 feet overview of what OpenLit and how this is plugging into the observability platform. So it's sort of like built on OpenTelemetry, but from an AI workload perspective. And just for kicks, I've put in the screenshot of how it's going to look like. So how is it going to be extending the observability, right? Because it is now going to be looking at the track model specific behavior, because you are going to be looking at the quality and the hallucinations that's getting generated from your LLM. And it captures the prompt level traces beyond the infrastructure. So we talked about the earlier comparison where now the monitoring has to move from the traditional metrics to the new modern LLM metrics. So this sort of like plugs into that point. And what are the key features that actually distinguishes in this journey? So it gives you the LLM specific tracing, because it just moves away from the traditional microservice to microservice tracing to sort of like the LLM, where you go from the whole the prompt to the response, and then gives you a quality scoring of what the actual response is from your LLM. And, excuse me, in terms of the hallucination. So it gives you the flag of the unreliable outputs. So with that, how does the data lake detection, or in the traditional way, the DLP, the data lake production that we would have in a traditional network infrastructure, how does that come into the picture? Because from a prompt and response scanning, it actually does the scan for both the input and output with the traditional regex, right? This is just how, if you're familiar with the DLP platforms, this is generally how it would work, and it would probably helps you flag it. And in terms of tag traces, so this is another one from OpenLit, where it would attach the tags or alerts to traces where a leak is detected. So if there is a data leak, then it would help you to tag to that. And there's another feature called the real-time monitoring, where it would enable the security teams to track your data and exposure across the inference log. So it gives you sort of like a good visibility into what exactly the data is getting leaked. So here's an example insight. A user prompt resulted in the exposure of a mock SSN. So what it would do? It would alert is generated, a trace ID is logged, and an auto remediation is initiated. So what it would do is it will give you an enhanced data governance and reduce the risk of certain compliance, which depending on your industry you would have to follow, and gives you an improved trust in sort of like what LLM you can help you deploy. So this is sort of like a good way, and this next slide gives you a slope. So go from left to right, where you have the whole user access attempt to the secure data that's getting there. So the first one, when you give a response, is the intent classification. So what it does is, it will helps you to prompt the tags, the prompts which are asking for the classified information or contextual classification models, right? Next comes the user behavior analysis, where a certain user, could be a malicious user or could be an internal user, who could be asking for repeated seek attempts for a particular classified data. So it will give you a tagging for that. And then certain guardrail enforcers, where you would basically look at the successful and the blocked attempts with full traceability. So who are the users that are going for repeated seek rates of classified information, and helps you to give a full trace. So this is how OpenLit comes in the picture, where you get a good insight into the classified data seek. So we talked about the metrics. So now how would a metrics look like from an LLM perspective with the data security in place, right? Because we cannot look at the traditional ones. So some of the metrics could be the percentage of the prompts that are seeking classified data, right? That's a good insight to have. You can see the difference, how it is varying from the traditional ones. The top users or IPs that are triggering the policy rules. So you'd have a set of policies that are being set for OpenLit. So what are the users that are actually triggering this? And the frequency with which the guardrails are getting activated. That's another metric that you could have. So how does it translate into the outcome? You are strengthening the LLM, and you give early sign of the misuse of the prop, and it helps you to enable proactive incident defense. So rather than a reactive way, it's sort of like a very proactive way of detecting the incidents. So this is a nice ready reckoner that I've created. So if there is a data leak, then the OpenLit feature that gets activated is the prompt or the response scanner, and it triggers the alert and the trace tag. If there is a token abuse, there's a lot of requests that's coming up, the token monitor comes in the picture because there is an unusual spike that's detected, and it helps you to give a cost alert. Classified seek, there are a lot of users that are asking for a classified information. So it comes, the OpenLit feature is the prompt classifier, and the metrics that you should be looking at are the guardrail logs, and the flags.
So yeah, going on that, so OpenLit is a CNCF based backed project, but you need to host that. So if you don't want to host that, you can use any SaaS based platform which you're currently using in any of your companies, in any of your projects, and you can use the same data to any of your SaaS platform and you can visualize that. Similarly, middleware, where I work, we also have created LLM Observability, and we are using OpenLit, and if you have integrated OpenLit there, you can fetch the same data in your SaaS based platform. So it provides a lot of things. It has, if you go for SaaS based platform, then what will happen is they have a predefined set of dashboards. Because what you do with data, you create a lot of dashboards and you create alerts which can help you out to understand better and which can help you out to predict something that could be a different sort of thing. Apart from that, why this middleware can be helpful there is it combines the OpenTelemetry with OpenLit, and it can also show you out the correlation from the front end monitoring with the back end monitoring. And apart from that, it also helps you to optimize cost, because if you just go, if you have set up everything in SaaS-based platform, and if you want to host OpenLit, you need to host it some of the cloud platform. And apart from that, if you use directly this, then it can be a helpful thing. Yeah. So yeah, similar dashboards like this, because we want matrices, traces, sort of thing. So in same manner, I will also show you in this in demo, but you can see how many tokens used, and you can see the amount of cost after every product that is being used, after from which models. Let it be we are using Gemini, or we are using GPT, or any models we are using. So we will have a traction of thing where from each and every model, we will have a traction of usages, and we will also have how much cost is combined with that. Yeah, please, next. So yeah, covering all over the more over LLM use cases. So we have AI customer support. Nowadays, if you see, so the customer support chatbots are not man-made. They are backed by LLMs. If you see, I had seen recently one website where the chatbot was speaking chatbot. If you know LLM Labs, like many people are using that and making that. So LLM also can be helpful in that, and it can improvise your support sort of thing. Next is code assistance. Nowadays, many people are using code assistance. So to improvise their performance also, if you have LLM Observability on the back of that, it can help you out to improvise that. Next is knowledge management and performance. So eventually, LLM Observability can be helpful to improvise your performance, because you are using a lot of things, but on the back end, as Ransi said, it's like a black box. You search something on LLMs, but you don't know how it is coming out, how you can improvise on that. So LLM Observability can be helpful for that, and it can help you out a lot of places. Yeah. So yeah, how to effectively build this monitoring and your LLMs in your production. So the major thing is implement distributed tracing. So everyone knows, like, we have shifted from monolithic to microservices in a lot of space. So distributed tracing is to trace all of the things in microservices, because microservices have a lot of self-independent isolated environments also. So if you go for tracing, so distributed tracing is a thing where if you implement this properly, then you have all the things tracked on your platform. Next comes monitor token usage. Eventually, it is validated with cost. So if you need to track your cost, you need to track your you need to track your usages of tokens. Third is detect hallucination. We don't want like any of the customer, any of the person want be hallucinated, because that you saw a picture. If you hallucinate, a business can be impacted, and no one wants that. So we don't want like it should be hallucinated. Next is set up anomaly detection. Anomaly, as I already told you, anomaly helps you predict if there could be some chances that there can be crashes, there can be spikes or something in future. So it will help you out to understand that. Next comes automate logging and alerting. You need to set up all the alerts properly. That can help you to do the things previous to that. If the application is going down, then after it is, the logging is coming, the alert is coming, then it won't make sense. Yeah. Yes, please. So yeah, you can connect with us on this. We can go to demo. So we had created a demo where you can see we had integrated with OpenLit. Yeah. Here is the official documentation from OpenLit. If you see, yeah, just a minute. So if you see, there is a OpenLit SDK. So OpenLit SDK sends all the traces, matrices to OpenLit OpenTelemetry collector, and it can go to ClickHouse. If you know ClickHouse, then you can have a producer consumer sort of thing at that place. So it goes to ClickHouse, and then it comes to OpenLit. So we had, this is the official documentation of OpenLit. We will see the demonstration from this. You just need to clone that. You just need to compose a container of Docker. So there are different scripts in Python, TypeScript, and you can see this. They have examples of OpenAI, Anthropic, Ollama, LangChain, everywhere over here present there. So you can use these scripts. So majorly what they have is, you need to call the functions, you need to call the chat completion, let's say in OpenAI ChatGPT sort of thing, OpenAI models. So you have functions of calling the model, calling the chat completions because it can see how the models are working out, and you can have the traces from this. You can run this on your local. It will see a dashboard like this. So majorly what it does, we have application code, we have instrumented OpenLit SDK, and it will send traces, it will send traces and matrices to OpenTelemetry backend, so you can visualize that. See, this is the dashboard. The first is how many total requests we have sent, average request durations, average token request per request, total cost, how much cost it had occurred, how many things we have been hallucinated. You can see all of them in a dashboard sort of thing. You can also see by categories how many chat completion is been done by which model. Also, if you have different environments, you can also bifurcate that in the dashboard. And you can also see which of the models. Here we have used only one model, but yeah. Coming back to code, we have imported the OpenLit. We have created an initialize function where we are defining the OTLP endpoint. If you know OpenTelemetry, then we define where the data should be going in OTLP endpoint. So here I created a small function sort of thing, which is I am calling to OpenAI model, a small function. See, the number of requests over here is 24. I just created the function. I will just hitting the function, and see that the request has been increased. So 3 tokens has been used over here, 3 requests are being used over there. You can see the traces over here. So traces, they have trace ID. So trace ID is the parent ID, and then they have, if the traces, you know, then they have sub processes. So they are child IDs. So if you know traces, then you can easily see all the things over here. You have time, you have everything, ID, parent ID, span ID, status code, what was the status code of each and every request, what was the prompt we have given, and what is the response from the LLMs. You can see everything over here. So it can be helpful for you to understand and to make it more better and more accurate. If, I already told you, if you don't want to host this, you can use any SaaS-based platform. I will see this same dashboard and middleware also. We are doing the data in middleware. So we just need to change the OTLP endpoint that we defined. So OTLP endpoint defines like where the data should be shown. So similar, You can also see what LLM requests we have done, which model was used. You can have the whole dashboard on any SaaS-based platform also. And here also you can see the amount of spans with success is 14. I will run the code over there, the same code. I have just changed the OTLP endpoint, and it will show you. So things like this, being a DevOps or being a SRE, we do monitor a lot of things. We do monitor a lot of dashboards. Similar manner, being in Gen AI era, using a lot of LLMs, this can be helpful a lot of. Yeah, that's done from our end. If you have any questions, you can connect with us on LinkedIn or any place if you want.
Any questions, guys? All right, seems like no questions. So we'll thank you, Neil and Rinsi, for your valuable insights on LLM. It's a small gift of token from us. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so if you guys are sharing the moments, the pictures in LinkedIn or any other social media, don't forget to tag us on KCD BLR 25, and also you can tag the official account for this, which is KCD Bangalore.